We are reading from the book by my teacher, Dr. Yang Jing Ming, Qigong Meditation, Embryonic Breathing. And what I do is highlight a section of the book and I share the calendar. Anyways, let's read this section. So this is called Four Books, The Great Study. Confucius said, "Only knowing how to cease can you then have steadiness. When there is steadiness, then your mind can be calm. When your mind is calm, then you can be peaceful. When you are at peace, then you're able to ponder. When you ponder, then you will gain." So, what Dr. Yang does is he comments now on that passage. And so basically, these are passages from really old texts. And then what he does is he does his commentary. What does it mean um, for the sake of meditation, personal evolution, and fulfillment and training? To the Confucian scholar, the final goal of meditation is to gain understanding of the meaning of life and the rules of nature. In order to comprehend this deep philosophy, you must go through a few necessary procedures. The first step is to stop or to cease the initiation of a thought. Only then will your mind be steady and under control, both calm and peaceful. Once you have reached this state of peace, then your mind is clear for you to ponder. Through deep pondering, you will comprehend the reason for all events around us. Wow, that is a lot. You will comprehend the reason for all events around us. How can we comprehend the reason for all of the things that are happening in our lives and in the lives of our loved ones and all around the world? Is it possible that we can comprehend everything that is happening? Well, that is a stretch, at least, for me, but this is what the text is saying. Going back to the script, only knowing only when you know how to cease can you then have steadiness. When there is steadiness, then your mind can be calm. When your mind is calm, then you can be peaceful. When you are at peace, then you are able to ponder. When you ponder, then you will gain. What is it that we are trying to do? We are trying to gain, and we want to gain comprehension for the meaning of life. What are we here to do? And why are we here? So, is it possible to comprehend that? Well, it says we have to stop. So we should know that in terms of this book and meditation, it's talking about sitting meditation. You stop moving the body, so you cease the body. That doesn't mean the mind stops, but at least the body stops, and and mind are one. One as two and two as one. So if you stop the body, then you can have steadiness. If you're doing something, moving about, cleaning, walking around, what have you, around your house or around work, then sure you may have a component of steadiness, but you don't necessarily have the meditation steadiness that's required for stability in this deep, profound way to gain and to be able to ponder. This refers to contemplative practices that where a person is sitting in deep thought, in contemplation, and in wonder about the nature of reality. And at the same time, trying not to have a thought. Because remember, it says, when your mind is calm, then you can be peaceful. When you're at peace, then you're able to ponder. Your mind can be calm. And in terms of mental health, because I'm also doing a little bit of a deep dive into mental health this month and before the new year, um, the meditative practices help to establish, maintain, and sustain mental health. My personal experience and opinion on mental health dictate that mental health is stable and can remain stable so long as we can remain in awareness from one moment to the next. I used to think that mental health was about was referring to people that kind of went crazy or are crazy, but that really is kind of a superficial definition. Doesn't say much. And over the years, I've thought about myself and in contemplative practices, look at my own mental health, my own state of being. And the mental health, I think, refers to a state of being. And so when we look at states of being, we know that we can be in lower states or higher states. And we want our highest um, self to always represent who we are and what we're doing in the world. When we're at our low states, we don't want to be involved. We don't want to be bothered, and there's just something that's missing. Whatever it is, there's something missing, and we're in a low state. And a low state could be depression, could be wanting to be isolated. So, and the highest states are like when we're fully living to our potential and we're inspired and we're motivated and there's a sense of contribution and maybe even, profound um, contribution, connection, maybe even love, appreciation. And so, there's a lot of questions. Well, how do we get to the highest self? And then how do we maintain the highest self? And then how do we build resilience to get to these get to the highest self and maintain the highest self? What happens when a low state starts to enter and the mind or the state of being starts to alter or to be altered? Or this could be, all of the things that we experience in our lives. Marshall Rosenberg said, the author of Nonviolent Communication, there are four friends that signal when we are not contributing to peace on the planet. Four signals, he said they could be considered four friends. Four friends, because what we want to do and what he says is that when we're at our highest state or when we're at the high states, we are contributing to peace on the planet. Sometimes we could be conscious or not conscious and be contributing to violence on the planet. And so the four friends help to signal when we might be contributing to the violence on the planet and not the peace on the planet. And so what he says is fear, guilt, shame, or I'm sorry, it's anger, depression, guilt, and shame are those four friends. So, based on his system, if we are experiencing those feelings in the body, we are not at a calm, easy, peaceful state. To refer back to this, if we can't be at a calm, peaceful, easy state, we cannot ponder. And if we cannot ponder, then we cannot gain. And if we cannot gain, we cannot comprehend the reason for all of the events around us. And so, if we want to have that comprehension, then we need to at least sit. When in doubt, just sit. At least sit and take the body into the contemplative, meditative, silent posture. If then we can do that and hold the posture, then the mind could start to fall in line, become at ease, become peaceful, and then it can enter that act of pondering so that we can gain. Now, my personal experience, it takes time, and sometimes it takes time to get into the zone, and sometimes you don't even hit the zone. That's why the discipline, the daily discipline of the meditative practice is super important. Once your body remembers and your mind remembers and your nervous system can remember, then you can start to, I would say, integrate it into everyday life, where even living can be a moving and a walking meditation, to be at this ease and to be calm and to be peaceful. And qigong helps us and actually requires us to maintain these calm, peaceful, easy state as precursor to the meditative state, precursor to the qi gong state. How do we do that? We coordinate the body first. Remember, five regulations, then the breath, then the mind, then the qi, and then the spirit can be led. Body, breath, mind, qi, spirit. And those five regulations fall in line with this passage here, saying to um, sit, to be steady so the mind can be calm, and when the mind is peaceful, then it can ponder, and then it can gain. In order to do that, first you got to sit, you got to regulate the body. Regulating the body in this case is sitting. So tell me what you think. This is the calendar um, installment for December, and in January there will be a new one. And I think, based on the comments and based on responses, I'll continue to add to this. But we're going to continue to meditate on this passage and keep going forward and see if it comes up for us, and see what it's like when we sit and when we try to get calm and when we try to ponder. How do you ponder? I guess that's a good question. How do you ponder so that you can gain comprehension for the events around us? I hope that's helpful to you. Let me know. This is going to be the first of many. And remember to embrace the woo. And also, this is, like I said, a calendar series. So I'm offering the calendar right now on the link. Check out on the description, the link below. You can find the calendar. Along with the calendar, you're getting courses. W- These courses at just the price of the calendar, $20. So you're getting 5-day um, Tai Chi intro, 100 days meditation, Tai Chi walking, Qigong warm up. And then if you're interested in the full year, you get more courses, and we could talk about that. That's it for now. Until next time, may your Qi flow smoothly.